Even in my lifetime, the way we communicate has changed beyond recognition. Back in the days of That's Life, viewers sent us sackloads of handwritten letters. Since then, all sorts of advances have given us an incredible choice of how to contact not just television shows, but family and friends. And this year, we've needed that contact more than ever. The first national lockdown happened 9 months ago, just before my 80th birthday. So obviously, the first thing I had to do was cancel the party and try and think of ways of staying in touch with my family and my friends who are so important to me. So the only way to stay in touch with the people I most care about was using technology like this. Of course, many of us no longer just use our phones for a chat. My 5-year-old grandson Teddy likes to play snakes and ladders over the phone. And my sister Scylla in Australia catches up with video calls. Hi!
Hello, darling.
Miracle of Zoom. We're together-ish.
I went
Yes, go on.
last week to a cafe and
Wow.
I felt very, very, very daring.
But my daughter Becca and I still use our phones the more traditional way. Do you think on Christmas Day, can we time calls together so that they can open their stockings and we can discover what's in them at the same time as them?
Yes.
I have the great pleasure of working with 2 different charities. One works with children and young people, that is Childline, and 75% of them choose to contact Childline online. But the Silverline helpline, which offers information, friendship and advice to lonely older people, all of them contact us by telephone. So I think maybe the way we choose to communicate may depend on how old we are. But if different age groups communicate in very different ways, what I find so interesting is how each method affects how we come across. I'm meeting psychotherapist Dr. Nilu Ahmed.
Human beings are social creatures. We're designed that way. And if we don't have that social connection, that contact, that communication, it begins to have an impact on us before we're even aware of it. Finding somebody that reflects your own experience back to you is enormously liberating.
Visual cues on video calls can make a real difference.
We need to show that we are listening, and the way that we do that online is the way that we look at the screen and people can see our eyes. And if we're flitting about, if I'm doing my notes while you're talking to me, you're thinking she's not paying any attention. But if I'm looking at my screen, then you're thinking, actually, she is listening to me. She is hearing what I have to say. And it's so wonderful for people.
But the good news is, she thinks my old friend the telephone is very much alive. I find that it is liberating and you can actually create real friendships by telephone. So I'm hoping that it never goes out of style.
I don't think it will, and I think that we have seen since the lockdown that the number of people making phone calls has actually gone up. So people are reverting back to that comfort. And when we're in times of stress, what we do is we want to go back to comforting times, to familiar times. So in the past, when we've used phone calls more, that's what people are going back to rather than the new technology, because it's just nice and comforting, and it's great to be able to have that mode of communication.
The intimacy of the telephone has been the mainstay of the Silverline charity. It brought together 2 people 7 years ago. Today, they're face-to-face for the first time via new technology. Have you switched your camera on?
Yes.
I can't see you. I don't know why. Oh!
Oh!
Can John hear us?
I can hear you and I can see you.
Wilma became phone pals with John, a widower, when he reached out in a moment of loneliness.
Just one night I just felt down, lonely, so I thought, I think I'll ring this number. The person who answered the phone was absolutely lovely.
So what was John like when you started to talk to John? What was he like?
Well, he was quite reserved and he didn't really know what to expect.
Now, I think there's something very special about the telephone, because I think you can be honest with each other
Yes.
and talk about the way you feel and the way you think about life in a way that maybe you couldn't if you were face-to-face.
Well, I agree. Yeah, I like using the telephone. I like it. I really do.
I love the telephone. Yeah, I really do. I'm never off it.
And it's heartening to see that the new ways of communicating can also be used to help those who feel lonely or need support. 19-year-old Lucy Clark texts older people when she picks up their shopping. How do you know that you're buying the things from the supermarket that they actually want?
So using texting to not only them to show me exactly what they wanted, just sending me photos, or even when I was in the supermarket, sending them pictures saying, is this the right thing? Is this what you want?
And what about someone of my age who is a bit nervous of technology? And
technology can be frightening, and I understand that. Something you've never had to rely on becomes so important just to get those, speaking to people. But I think any young people around should be actively trying to support people that don't understand. Even my mum and dad, making sure they've been able to speak to their friends. I just think we should all encourage it and help one another.
Like Lucy, I love volunteering because I find the benefits work both ways. Over Christmas, I'll be picking up the phone to around 30 people. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope that I'm going to make a difference to them. I know they're going to make a difference to me. So, however